Today I will be sharing a story, one that I've tried to save for music. I've tried to create it into a song. I've tried to put it into a singing song or rapping song. I've really held off on this for a while because it's such a touchy subject, and I wanted to put it out in a meaningful way. But as it stands, as God stands, as the world stands, I think it's time for me to really share my 2 cents on tragedies such as school shootings. Texas just got hit with a school shooter. All I know is that double-digit numbers of children were murdered, and I felt it. And there's not much I can do because I'm not in Texas. But if there's anything that I felt called to do in the light of God, is to share my story. And the thumbnail of this video is accurate. At least I hope I stick with what I believe it will be. So here's my story of befriending a school shooter without even realizing it. So I'm about 16 at this time, right? Diving right into the story. I'm in high school, and this is fourth period, around 10:30, 11:30 a.m. before lunchtime. In this classroom, it's math, right? And I hate math. Math class was just awful. Okay, I never took it seriously. I never really gave a fuck about it. And we would, every semester we would change seats or whatever. And by the way, math class was almost directly in the middle of the school. So to give you a representation of what it looked like, say this is the school, like a rectangle, and in the middle of the school there's a rec room, an outside area, right? And on the outskirts, on the inside, are all classrooms, right? And the math class was right here. So here's like the food court, and then on the upper level, on the top, this is where the math class is. Okay. So just giving you context, kind of where I'm at, right? It was on the second level, of the school. Now, I believe this is one of the third to last semester. We switched seats, and I end up sitting next to this guy. I think his name was Ian or Aaron. It had a vowel. I think Ian is more accurate. I might be wrong though. The name passes me, but the story reigns true. So we'll just call him Ian. He had brown hair and these bright blue eyes. They were scary looking, really. Strong chin. He was white. And he wear these coats all the time, like these raincoats. And I remember how cold he was. Like, I could just pick up on him like he was just a cold motherfucker. Like, he just didn't talk to people like that. And, a few days of math go by, and all of a sudden I'm in conversation with him. I don't know how this happens. We just pick it up, right? And at first I'm asking him like simple questions like, so like, what do you like to do? He was like, oh, I play video games, with a set of friends online. I'm like, cool. Like, do you have any friends here at school? He's like, no. I fucking sit by myself at lunch all day because I fucking hate everybody. And I'm like, well, that's kind of fucking sad. And, yeah, and like that, and then I asked him, like, about his family, and he said he was alright with his dad, but he fucking hated his sister and his mom, and like just had a lot of hate. Like he was just like a cold motherfucker, um, and I'm a really kind person, like I like to, spread joy and all that shit. So be kind, be a good person. So I try to like etch him on to telling me about his like the video game interests, because I also play a lot of video games or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I play this, that, and this and that, and like he starts opening up about it. I can see, he's, conversing with me, right? So day after day after day after day after day, he sort of keeps opening up to me about his situation and his relationship with his dad, his relationship with his mom, his relationship with, school and friends, like why he doesn't have friends and shit. He would say like, I don't have friends because I just fucking hate people. People are fucking idiots. And it's like, okay. And, his family said, oh yeah, they don't fucking understand me. I remember him saying a lot of that. His family just didn't fucking understand him or whatever. And then a few days come by, and like he would wear like these big like lofty jackets, and you'd hear him, like coming into class or whatever. And I don't know, like a week in, he started wearing like these like camouflage jackets or whatever. And I started asking him like, oh, so your dad, you told me your dad is, like he like hunts or whatever, so like are you gonna go hunting with your dad or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go shooting with my dad. I was like, oh, that's fucking amazing, that's great, that's awesome. Mind you, like, I'm fucking failing this class. I'm barely showing up most of the days. I was a bad student. And basically towards the last semester, I just kind of like stopped going. But yeah, like during the last periods, like it was him telling me about, yeah, like I'm reconnecting my dad, and I'm gonna go, practice shooting with him or whatever and shit. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that was the last time I ever saw him. After that, I pretty much dropped out of that class. I just stopped fucking going. And towards the end of this semester, the end of the year, when I graduate, everyone gets these like alerts on their Chromebooks or whatever. And it was like a bomb threat. Basically, we get these bomb threats or whatever, and they like spread across or whatever. You get these bomb threats. And that was the first thing. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?" Like, why are we getting, And then the biggest takeaway was maybe a couple weeks after graduation, they catch a guy, you know, walking into school, and in his backpack, he had a map. He had a map of the entire school with X's on every single fucking classroom. It was him. It was Ian. They caught him. And this information didn't get sorry. This information didn't get around to me until the very end of the year. I was just a really bad student. I was never there, just to put it frankly. And when they came around to me, it just fucking hit me like a brick. Like, who was it? And they're like, oh, I was this kid named Ian. I'm like, this kid. And they found, it was a map and like a fucking shotgun or some shit in his fucking backpack. And this is hard for it is really hard for me to say. And like on the map, like every single classroom but every single classroom but fourth period math was X'd out. So from a standpoint of my perspective, not as a victim, but as someone who was next to the person who literally was, you know, I can tell you this. These people don't feel loved at all. They are lonely, they're neglected, they're unloved, they are misunderstood. And they're fucking sad. They're so fucking awfully sad that they have no other means of getting their love, getting attention, than to do some awful thing so that the news and the publicists and me, even me, you know, here on this fucking video, talk about them. You know, we give them exactly what they want when we just start buzzing it all over the internet, all over media. And you know what? They win in that sense. They do. But what I can tell you is that these people are normal people, but they just aren't. They're just not loved. They're not counted as a person. And I want to segment this into how the climate of the world is. You know, like, the best way I can fucking describe this is the way the world is set up. I mean, bro, liking someone is based upon how many times you can tap your screen. Fame, fortune, love, and money is all determined by how many people see what you've posted today. Parents and grandparents all force and try to delegate kids into following pursuits that they have no interest in. They shove them through the fucking the go-kart of fucking industrialized education just for them to come out the other end with time wasted. And that the only time these kind of people that go up and shoot fucking schools up, murder children, is when they're enveloped in escapism, right? Like, yeah, these kids probably took drugs. Yeah, these kids probably smoked weed. Yeah, there's so many different fucking things. Yeah, video games might add to the way their violence things, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the school shooter. It has everything to do with how we treat people in society. We don't treat people like people. I'm not a people. I'm a person with a soul. And I have needs that need to be met. I was brought on this earth for a fucking reason. A divine fucking reason. And if that's never negotiated, that's never tended to, that's never loved, cherished, and given gratitude, then loneliness is what you get. Despair is what you get. Hate for the world is what you get. Aloneness is what you get. And these school shootings are a testament of the times, where everything is online, where everything is based on a like, where everything is based on attention, where everything is based on please look at me so I can live how I want to live. So the people that don't get seen, this is where they end up. And, it's like, well, you're up on here making this YouTube video so that it could be seen online and shit like that. It's like, yeah, I'm no saint. I'm no perfect person. I'm not claiming to be a perfect person. I'm not. This is stupid in my opinion as well, because I don't want to be giving attention to these people, because that's exactly what they do this shit for. But I have a story of being next to the people that do this, and all I can say is that these people it's not about the guns, it's not about the video games, it's not about the drugs, it's not about any of that. It's about children not being tended to and loved and encouraged in their own way. Neglect. It's written all over it. And in a world where you have to be seen in order to get paid, you have to be seen in order to flourish, you have to be seen in order to be important. This is what you get. This will only continue, and the way I see this ending is we love the person. We need to understand what it's like to love the person, not the people. Because the person is its own lane. The people is just this, you could say that we the people as we the internet. And the internet is nothing but a glorified high school. Where it's, oh, look at them, look over there, look at them. Oh, it's the people over there. Who gives a fuck about them? That's what this is. And this is what you're gonna get. people who are seen and people who are unseen. And now, because there's money tied between being seen and unseen, niggas are gonna go out their way to do the most. This is my story of being friends with a school shooter without even knowing it. And the one thing that he fucking needed ended up being me. And all I was kind, loving. I gave him attention. Even though he was the scariest looking motherfucker in the world. Dirty, I didn't give a fuck. He was next to me for a reason. He was in my person for a reason, and I took that. And ultimately, it led to this. How do we make this better? Is we treat the people like persons. And to know that love is the only way this gets better. I can't speak on the climate of the internet because people are ignorant. And the internet is just gonna keep growing. But know that in a culture where the seen get paid and the unseen get bastardized, called names, shoved into jobs they hate fucking working, pushed through fucking education systems that have been broken for years, this is what you're gonna get. And for warriors like me, souls who are put on this fucking earth to share our message, are here. Because it is time well